Hey everybody, welcome to the LANCave where we're living as nerds. I'm Patrick, joined by Owen.
I got nothing clever to say today.
Nothing to say. That's too bad. Nothing clever? No.
What happened this week? What's going
Not
on
a
this
lot.
Week? Is anything
One
going
thing.
on? I feel like there's nothing there's obviously war and inflation and all that stuff going on, but is there anything just goofy going on? Like, Will Smith didn't slap anybody this week. Like,
no. New Lizzo thing blowing up TikTok, but other than that, that's about it.
Like catching weird parts of my table here.
Yeah, it's fun. Now I feel like we're in the post Marvel movie depression of that wasn't bad, but I think a lot of people were like, I got overhyped.
Was it a horror movie?
No, I mean there's some horror-ish things in there, but it's not really scary.
There's the stuff going around that some people think that it should have been rated R. Do you think those people are soft?
Hold.
As both a horror fan and a Disney household.
Okay, there's one part.
The line?
There's one part that I'm like, that's a little much. Okay. Like, would you bring an 8-year-old to it? Probably not. But
it's PG-13, I wouldn't bring an 8-year-old to it anyway.
Well, PG-13 is supposed to mean you've got parental guidance if you're under 13. That's what it's supposed to mean. It doesn't mean for only people who are 13 and up. So no, it would not. I think there's certain aspects to it that I'm like, no. I don't think
I'm from the decade where we invented PG-13 because Indiana Jones stuck his hand.
Yep.
And ripped out a heart.
Kalima.
And that happened. Is it worse or tamer than ripping a heart out of a guy's chest and watching
honestly
it burn in your hands?
I think it's not as bad as that. I mean that's an
intense scene.
Yeah, I'd say a lot of the stuff that you see here isn't as real. If you want to describe it as more fantasy stuff, I will say it is very Sam Raimi. Like, if you like what Sam Raimi does, then I think some people thought the tone was a little weird, and we're dancing around spoilers here because Owen has not seen it. I have, and I'm not going to spoil it for anybody. Yeah. So, I'd say I don't think it needed to be an R. I have some things that I was disappointed in, but there were some things that I really enjoyed. So I'll put it that way. I kind of went on a roller coaster this week of my feelings on that. But yeah, nothing crazy.
You probably have to see it again.
That's exactly what it is.
That's like one of those second opinion things where we were actually talking about that today, where we were just talking about Star Wars, as we always do. And there was a clip on Twitter of Ewan McGregor talking about the Star Wars trilogy and how they had a really hard time filming it. He's like, we're talking about the early ages of green screen, and Lucas really wanted to use that, and that was really hard to film. And he's talking about how critically they also didn't do well, and the adults hated it, and then he's talking to this crowd. He's like, but then there's you guys. You guys were, you were the young generation watching the trilogy, and we find out now, you loved it. And so he's like, this is really refreshing for me. And so, first of all, wholesome content right there. I was like, hey, I was a teenager that loved the prequels. Didn't love them as much as the original, but still love them. But, we're talking about episode 8 in particular, and I was like, I really did not like episode 8 the first time I saw it. And then the second time I saw it, I put on some different goggles, and I actually really enjoyed it, minus the extra 30 minutes of fluff that was not needed in there. They could have just cut that out, and it would have made for a much better viewing. So there's those movies where it's like, do I hate this? Do I not hate it?
Is it because the internet tells you to hate it? Is that why?
So you got to have that second lens. And like I said right before you saw it, there was somebody that I saw online where it was two guys that went to see it on opening night, and one was like, "It's my favorite Marvel movie," and he said that his friend said it's his least favorite Marvel movie. So like
it's definitely, yeah. I mean, I'm definitely not going to say it's not Thor: The Dark World. It's I'm trying to think what is the other what
that picture that I sent you and Robert of
for Thor,
just swole at Natalie, just like
There's some pictures also that like people have like, you know, paparazzi. Obviously, like I don't condone paparazzi in any way, but like there were some pictures that were going around like that. You're like, okay, she did get some size because she is not depending on your bone structure, etc. I'm not going to go into it, but like that dictates like how much muscle mass you're going to be able to obtain naturally. That's why some people naturally will be able to build more muscle than other people. She has a very small frame. She's short and also has a very small, like, you know, petite bone structure. I'm impressed by what they packed on her, and that's also harder for a woman to do that. So, yeah.
Yeah, that lady's awesome. Like 5'3", maybe 100 pounds on like a normal day.
Yeah. So I don't know, like you know, pound wise, like, you know, what we're talking there. Muscle is dense, and she doesn't care. You know, she's not one that she didn't have a lot of body fat on her, because people are like, oh, muscle weighs more than fat. Sure, but she's wasn't very big. So yeah, like you said, 100 pounds. So it could have been.
She's also
12,
vegan,
15 pounds.
So she was putting that on with no animal, like, not saying that.
Oh sure, yeah.
But still, just like vegan protein. Like I think that there's something also pretty hardcore about that. You couldn't just go eat some steaks and stuff.
Which is easier. I will say vegan protein, if you want to do, in my opinion, don't do soy, do pea protein. So it is protein, it's much better when it comes to that. Of course, you guys didn't come here for this, but you get a little bit of that. But peas have a lot of good protein, you know, legumes and all that. But like, you can do pea protein. It's considerably. I actually think in some ways it's better than whey protein, unless you're doing like post workout stuff. But you guys didn't come here to listen to me ramble about fitness. If you did, let me know. But probably not.
But occasionally we do talk about video games.
A little bit of video games, a little bit of Star Wars, Star Trek. I do need to watch. Did you watch the new Star Trek series, by the way? Didn't the first episode air?
Yeah, the pilot. Yeah.
Pilot, yeah.
I did. Yeah. I am not unhappy after a very lackluster second season. Like, so Picard started out such like, I was really feeling Picard season 2, and then it just like went Thelma and Louise like off a cliff. And so coming off of like kind of like a disappointing second half of Picard, it was really refreshing. I think that the dude playing Pike is awesome. Getting number one. That's the
dude from the movie, right?
From Discovery.
Wasn't he back from the? Oh, that's right.
He was in Discovery as Pike.
Yeah.
And then their little Shatner twist is interesting, and so not Shatner twist, their Kirk twist. Shatner is not in the show. Thank goodness. I am looking forward to it. I didn't write this down because I didn't know we would be talking Star Trek, but last night, over the weekend, I bought Deep Space Nine for $30 on iTunes, as we had talked about. Watched the pilot episode last night. Nice little 90-minute, just taking myself back to my childhood. So I love it. It's gonna be one of those things where instead of scrolling over the next few months, you know, anytime that I start hitting that, like, what the crap do I watch? I'm just gonna go watch an episode of DS9.
Go watch it.
Get some of that comfort food. That was what it. I don't know if it was you or another friend of mine that just described it perfectly. Like, DS9 is just Star Trek comfort food, and
it wasn't me, but I like it. I mean,
and so I'm gonna be slowly going back through that series again. The best Trek of all time. Don't at me. You can at me if you want, but you're wrong.
Yeah, okay. I think it's the best Trek. It's not without its flaws, but I will say that the worst Deep Space Nine episode is considerably better than the worst TNG episode, and I'll argue on that.
That's fair.
at it. I mean, TNG is great and everything, but
classic.
God, there's something about, to me, and I know I've talked about this on the show, but like there's something to me about like how Deep Space Nine embodied like all of these cultures having to work together, where in the other series you have a homogenized, oh, we're all the Federation, we're all in the same mindset, even though we're different races, which is great, but you don't have as much of conflict of like, you know, people who are okay, we're going to get along, but we've got recent history that's going on, or different cultures, and like learning about their cultures. And I thought that was cool. Like, and anything Worf on Deep Space Nine. I know that doesn't come until what, season 4? I think season 3, season 4.
4 sounds accurate.
Yeah. So I know it doesn't come until later, but like that and like any Jadzia Worf stuff is awesome, and anything Quark, obviously. But and Garrick, that show's great.
There's just too many. That's where it really stands for me. Like in terms of like TNG and being like the classic. Like for TNG, it's like Picard's awesome, and not that like, but he's like the show. Whereas like DS9, I really like that ensemble more than any of the other Trek ensembles. Like, there are very few characters that I just dislike. I mean, like even people like Morn, where Morn is awesome. Like a guy who never says anything the entirety of the series is awesome.
And they joke that he won't shut up or something like that. Yeah. Quark jokes
like
about that.
They always like he's basically a character that apparently talks off screen, which is even funnier. But that ensemble I think was great. Even Ezri later on is fine, although I really don't like her that much in terms of like, because I was just still mad about them killing off the character. So it was like,
I was such a mixed bag because I had a crush on Nicole DeBoer at the time. So and she plays Ezri, so her coming in there, I'm like, I don't know how to feel about this, because you know Jadzia is amazing and Ezri's but yeah, she was on Sliders. That's the other show that she was on. Old some nice sci-fi there. But yeah, I'll end on this. I'd rather watch a Jake episode than watch a Wesley episode. I'll just say that
100%.
When you see
dude, and you're talking like, even though like the old Jake, I'm not good at, like a lot of people like are good at knowing episode names, but the old Jake episode, it's one of the greatest episodes in Trek. It's one of the most emotional episodes of Trek of all time. So good.
Like even like I said, even the worst stuff. But let's talk. You've been doing a little bit of gaming. You did some Lego Builders Journey.
I finally got over the hump. Like it took. I downloaded this on Apple Arcade because by the way, Apple Arcade, excellent library. If you have an iOS device, it's $5 a month, and if you get a Backbone controller or a Kishi, which I highly recommend, you can also get like a mount for a DS, a DualShock or whatever. But great library. But I saw this game because I saw a tweet that it was coming to console, and I was like, I remember this being on arcade, so I downloaded it. It's just a cute little puzzle game. You build things to progress like this kind of unspoken story between what is child and parent, I'm assuming. I think it's like 3 hours long, but literally what was going on is I beat Elden Ring, and I just wasn't able, like, I didn't want to pick up a game at all. I didn't want to pick up a game.
Post-Souls depression.
I tried to start a visual novel on Vita. I wasn't feeling it. It was too weeby. I did play some Switch Sports because that doesn't really require, like, I don't really consider that like just like gaming. Played some Mario Golf, and so I finally beat a game. I rolled credits on this game, and then the next day I started Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. So I just needed something
to just kind cleanser, man.
To get over the fact that I beat Elden Ring and nothing is like, it's just one of the, it's just one of those games. That's just, it was so good.
That's a good palate cleanser.
Whatever, play yourself a little 3-hour, just this cute little puzzle game with Legos. I love Legos. And there's a free build mode that I didn't explore, but you can apparently like build your own stuff, which I'm sure there's lots of creative people that can do something with that. But then I started Guardians of the Galaxy, and I got through the first chapter of that yesterday. Really good. Really good. The gameplay is kind of meh, but you can make it you can do custom difficulty. So not just like medium, hard, easy. You can go in there and be like, okay, I'll take normal damage, but I deal extra damage. And then you can do things like lower your cooldown times and stuff like that. So you can kind of
that's cool.
Tweak it. You can make it as hard or as kind of easy as you want. The dialogue is what's going to make this game. You can really tell. They literally they do not stop talking. Like, at least through the first chapter.
I've only played the first chapter, but yeah.
There's maybe 5 seconds of silence throughout the entire first chapter.
Yeah, and I've only it's been a while since I played it, but I played the first chapter, and it didn't seem like I got like the repeat. Like sometimes you get like, oh, they're saying that line again. That I didn't get that. Oh, by the way, in the chat, my chat, by the way, is now popping up on the screen. I don't know if you noticed that, but in the chat, Alan from the Magic Minute saying Picard or Cisco.
Cisco, bro.
So Alan, I met in college.
Oh.
And the reason I met him was he was working the coffee shop, and he heard me talking about how I thought Benjamin Sisko was the greatest Starfleet captain, and he just interjects into the conversation because of course. So he's like 25 feet away from me, like yelling across the cafeteria or whatever, and he was like, and my reasoning was because Sisko punches Q in the face. I mean, there's other reasons, but like that's Picard how we met. That's
I'm Picard.
So funny enough, we're talking about that, and Alan pops in. So shout out to Alan there. Had to bring that up. So Guardians. I need to jump back in this because I thought it was fun. Actually, the wife played this, and because I was going to play it, and she was like, "Oh, let me try." I don't mind, and this kind of game isn't a game that I would say your spouse is gonna enjoy watching and listening to what's going on in it. From similar to, I'd say, like the Telltale games and stuff. It's not a slog where you're having to wait for someone to grind. At least, not that I've played. It seems very narrative driven. So, yeah, you have to let me know if the rest of it is similar.
I feel like even if it is, like, you can drop it. You can make it way easier. Like, you can make your damage increase and all the cooldowns lower and make them hit less hard. So right now I have it on like they hit me for normal, but I hit harder and stuff like that. So it seems like if there's any annoying parts, I can just drop it down to the narrative experience. We'll see. Like, I don't even know how long it is. It's just I had it. I've gotten 2 more games in, and then I have 2 more, one from Limited Run and one from, I always forget the name of the company. They do exactly what Limited Run does, but they're not Limited Run, which is I have KOTOR, Limited Run, and then I have Death's Door, which I know is on Game Pass, but I wanted to play it on Switch. And then I have no more pre-orders. Sense. I have no more games
like I'm done.
Ordered right now. I've spent so much money this year, and it's only May. I am really trying to hold off. I know that we got the Xbox showcase coming up next month. There was the tweet. I don't know if we included that in the news. Did we? No. No. Final Fantasy 16 is closing in. I expect to see a trailer at Summer Games Fest. I expect that game to be released in October or November. I'm hoping that that's the next game that like I buy and order, unless Nintendo's like, hey, we're dropping Wind Waker on Switch, or Xbox is like something that's not on Game Pass. So I'm trying really hard to slow it down. So I bought Guardians last year. Gotta play Guardians.
Yep.
Bought other crap. Gotta play it.
Well, one good thing at least with Xbox is if you have Game Pass, Game Pass, you're more than, I mean, we haven't seen anything launch that's a first party exclusive that's not on Game Pass. It's part of the selling point. I know there are games that are going to be on there that aren't on Game Pass. I jumped into my Xbox after not turning it on for the past 4 months, and downloaded some stuff off Game Pass to play, and got some stuff that like Whitney games, but like, you know, she doesn't dig into it like we do and you know, and research, but every now and then she'll send me a TikTok or of like this, you know, someone who's talking about a game. But yeah, I was going through there just downloading stuff, and she was like, wait, what's that? What's that? And she has certain gameplay types that she just can't dig. So like immediately she's like, nope, not for me. Nope. But downloaded some for her. Definitely into the, you know, the walking sim and anything story related. So
I downloaded. Yeah. I did the same thing because somebody said that I should play Citizen Sleeper.
Okay.
Which is it's a narrative heavy game with a dice roll mechanic of you wake up each day and you roll, like you get dice, and those dice determine, like, so you can use like one dice for succeeding this way or that way or whatever, and then but apparently it's very narrative. So I did go into that was day one on Game Pass last week, so I went and downloaded that. I intend to play that soon because, like you, I legit have not played anything on Xbox since January, since I beat the Halo campaign.
I haven't beaten the Halo campaign, but yeah, I haven't booted up the Xbox, so I've been busy on PlayStation. Now that I'm done with the Elden Ring, you know, I platinumed Elden Ring, and I'm playing the Wolverine playthrough, but that's occasional. So now I'm gonna jump over to Xbox for a little bit and try that out. Oh, I did jump back into Sifu. I should have put that on here. I jumped back into Sifu to try out the student difficulty.
Yeah,
it's still pretty difficult and challenging. Like you still have
has
to
not become the master.
Yeah, the game's mastering me. It's the problem. It's the timing is better, but you still have to remember you're in the game. You can do a dodge left, dodge right. You can duck, and you can what's the term? Like, I guess, lift up your legs. So you're basically dodging, you know, left, right, and up and down, and then you have like dodging back and forth. And you can't, if you're just trying to do an old school or a Souls-like dodge where it's like, I'm going to roll this way, it doesn't work, and they'll hit you. So if you didn't do the right input, you get hit. So that difficulty setting didn't help me that much. I'll probably still go back to it at some point, but I'm gonna play with my Xbox for a little bit. Long as they don't, if I can, it's like hope I don't have another outage. Thankfully, didn't happen to me because I wasn't playing Xbox at the time. But two times? Yeah, at least two times this past weekend.
It's like 4
Xbox. Was it 4 days off and on for 4 days?
Depending on like what country you were in and stuff. So like different countries had different problems.
Gotcha. Because I was hearing different time frames on it and everything. So long story short, this all boils down to Xbox is still doing DRM in one way or another. And here, like Xbox saying, hey, Europe should no longer be encountering problems, and as long as you're using your, actually they didn't even mention it here, but you know, saying like it's still having issues. Basically, this was going on and on. Xbox is checking, you know, on their system basically to confirm if you own the digital game that you're launching. So you couldn't buy games, you couldn't play your digital games even though you owned them. And one of the fixes was make sure that you've set your Xbox to your home console, and that didn't actually work for the majority of people. So DRM is bad, and this is why I hacked my PS3. This is why I hacked like a handful of my other consoles, because I want to be able to play these games in like, you know, 20 years when their servers go down. I don't want to get that error.
It's not just that. This is the stupidest thing in the world in terms of
single player games. I
bought the game, bro. Like, yeah, I get that in some way, shape, or form. You're trying to like stop piracy, right?
Yeah.
Good for us in that, like, we don't own a ton of Xbox games anyway. I think I can count on one hand how many Xbox games I own.
I own a good amount, but more PS5 obviously this generation. But yeah.
I mean, yeah, no. I mean, I didn't buy anything during the Xbox One era except for some Assassin's Creed for the wife. all those were discs though. And this is just bringing it back where like I'm actually getting, in terms of physical, I'm actually getting a little tired of it. My physical collection now that I have like all my shelves full. And so I'm kind of at this thing of like, I want to start buying digital again. But then something like this happens and it's like, I would be beyond irate because I paid for it. Now, Game Pass, fine. If a DRM outage thing happens and hits Game Pass, in a way, I understand it. I still think that it's ridiculous if I installed it because the second that I reconnect to the thing, you're going to take it away from me. So like, I'm going to have to like stay online or something like that the entire time. But if I bought the game, you should be able to see, like the system should just be able to see, like, so I know from purchasing, I'm kind of going all over the place, but whenever you buy something from say the iTunes store, right? It encodes the purchaser onto the download. It says, Owen bought this song. And it's on my computer. You don't have to be connected to the internet to play it. You do have to like be like signed in to your computer, even if it's not connected to the internet. But like once it's on there and it's signed in. If I'm signed into my Xbox, I don't care if I'm online or not. I had to sign in. Yeah. My name is attached to that game. Let me play my effing game no matter what. I shouldn't have to check in ever. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. Not the most hyperbole, obviously, but absolutely ridiculous that if I paid full money for a game, I would be blowing a gasket. Yeah, that they would not let me play my game.
Yeah, because this is multiple steps further than, if you listen to our show, we were talking about, for example, like the Wii U. It's actually right out of frame up here. I've got my Wii U here. I've got my PS3 here. I need to make sure that I think my Wii U isn't hacked. I need to make. I'm gonna.
From
fix
what
that
I know, we had talked about both doing it.
Yeah. So
I don't think you have either.
I haven't. I did back in the day because I think it's just contingent on an SD card with the proper. I'll have to double check.
I believe that's what it is.
Yeah. So the reason that I did that on the PS3 though is because if my PS3 can't check into the network, and my CMOS battery dies at some point, I cannot play any digital games on any of my digital games that I own on my PS3. So I have games on that that I wouldn't be able to play. DLC, all this stuff, and it really goes down to game preservation, right? Like that stuff. We talked about Wind Waker. Wind Waker's not on Switch yet, but there are so related, but I didn't put it in the news. But I think it's Metal Gear. You won't be able to buy Metal Gear Solid 1 through 4 in any way very soon. There won't be any way to purchase those. It would only be through the PlayStation Now. So things like that where you are no longer being able to play these games unless you've bought them digitally, or you're a retro gamer and I say retro gamer, you have a PS3, can play them, but you have to buy the disc. That's unfortunate from a preservation perspective. And yeah, like I said, we want to be able to preserve our catalogs, our libraries.
With your hacked PS3, is it spoofing software?
Mine does not spoof any software. I don't have anything. Or you mean like, am I loading?
Does it spoof the version number, the software version?
I'll have to double check. I don't know if
the only reason I say that is because literally Monday, they dropped a security update on Vita and PS3, so I had to go into my Vita and tell the software that I'm now running 0.4 instead of 0.3.
Okay.
Just so I don't run into any problems.
On the Vita?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you have Hinkaku on Vita, then
pretty sure I do.
You can go into settings, and one of the things is hardware or software version spoofing, and just change the last digit, move it up one.
Gotcha. I'll check that on PS3. I can't remember if PS3 spoofs that or not. But yeah, Vita, I'll definitely have to check that. But that's the reason why we talk about this on the show, where we're warning people, because these games aren't that old. I mean, I laugh thinking about PS3 as a retro console, but it's 2 generations back at this point. We've had the PS4, PS5 now, for year and a half.
Year and a half.
Yeah. So
you know what? You know what that does make old? It makes the PS4 old. Which WB Games? They took the PS4, they took the Xbox One. They said, "What's up, guys?" And just shot him right in the face.
I didn't cry, and I didn't cry at all, not one bit. Gotham Knights canceled for Xbox One and PS4. Great segue, by the way.
Thanks.
So canceling this for previous gen console because yes, while it is hard to get an Xbox Series X, you can get a Series S. I've seen them in the wild. PS5s are extremely difficult to buy, but developers continuing to develop for the old consoles is why our games don't look as good as they could look, if we just double down and concentrate on the new console. So that the guts to move forward and say it's going to be a next gen game. Thank you. I'm really looking forward to this game now. I already was, but
really? Yeah. I mean, what I was gonna say is that what's funny is, I feel like for a game that's like just canceled its previous gen, I think this game does not look good. Honestly, I'm interested, and I want to hear your perspective.
Yeah.
I'm interested because they showed during this gameplay video, they by the way, there's a full, I want to say 13 minutes over on YouTube of Nightwing and Red Hood that y'all can watch if you're interested in that. What interests me most is kind of similar to the Guardians of the Galaxy thing in terms of like, I want the narrative. Like, what kind of narrative did you guys build in this game? Because they show a scene of Dick and Jason at their headquarters. They have a conversation. If there's a decent enough amount of that, and we're getting like a decent DC Comics video game story, like for that part I'm in. But dude, watching this combat, like, first of all, giving Nightwing like a motorized, an engine powered glider to just glide around, and then the fact that Red Hood can just jump, like this little scene right here, just jumping on nothing. I was like, what? I don't know. There's that, and it's just, Arkham was Arkham, and Arkham is awesome, but the combat is just Arkham.
I'm the multiplayer aspect, I think, is what makes me excited about this.
You play as Whitney?
Yeah, and that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping to play with her. I don't think that I haven't seen anything on split screen co-op. That's the only problem. Is I don't think it has split screen co-op, if I'm not mistaken. She has talked about and asked about the possibility of getting her own console in her office, or wherever she wants, but to be able to not only not have to be concerned if I want to play something, but also like, we could both play games together, and obviously she could move it if she wanted or whatever. But yeah, we've talked about that. So if that happens, then be able to play multiplayer with her on this, which I think would be cool. It will feature 2-player online co-op and no support for local split screen multiplayer. The question is, though, now does it have crossplay? Because if one of you was on Xbox and one of you was on PlayStation, that could work. Also, she's been talking. She loves PlayStation, and I'll play it on Xbox if it has crossplay. You should. So she's been playing.
No crossplay either. Come on, WB.
That's sad. Yeah,
guess you're gonna have to buy a Series S, man.
Yeah, but if I buy a Series
or a digital PS4.
Series S would be the cheaper option, but then that means I gotta huff the PS5 into her office whenever she wants to play it. That's the problem.
If you stick her on the Series S as I would absolutely do.
That's not how I treat her. No, I think the Series S is a good console. Like, it wouldn't be bad, but like she has games that she likes that honestly, when you boil it down, the games that she likes playing on PlayStation, they're usually multi-plat games anyways. So they're multi-platform that she could be playing on Xbox. So I think it's what she's used to, I think, is a big part of it. But yeah, by the way, I messaged in our chat. I didn't realize that it was Jason Todd at first that they show here. Not here. That's Dick Grayson, but right here, because that's Jason Todd. Right there.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
He looks dumb.
He looks dumb. He looks like a dumb frat boy Bruce Wayne. And
so like Bruce Wayne.
He sounds like Bruce Wayne. Not Batman though. Not Batman Bruce Wayne, but like Bruce Wayne. He looks like college Bruce Wayne persona. And he sounds like Bruce. Like I don't know why. Like I think they wanted to make sure he had a deeper voice because he's meatier, but yeah, it threw me off. But I'm hoping it'll look better when they do release it. Yeah, I do agree. It doesn't look like a next gen game, but it's probably going to run better if they're optimizing for just the current gen consoles. So,
sure.
Yeah. So hopefully.
But who doesn't care about next gen consoles?
Nintendo.
Nintendo doesn't care about next gen consoles.
They're concerned about the player base.
They don't even care about current gen consoles, to be honest.
They're concerned about their player base, and I think they don't want to alienate. This is coming from a recent comments in Nintendo talking about a Switch successor and the concern about their current player base and their user adoption in Switch, which I have said Nintendo has to make whatever the Switch 2 is, whatever that is, has to make it backwards compatible. It have to make it backwards compatible. Whatever it is, it needs to be a Switch 2. And like you said, Nintendo doesn't care about keeping up with Series X. It doesn't have to perform like a Series X. I think it should perform better, obviously, but Nintendo doesn't have to worry about that. So they can come out with their new one. Just make sure that it can read those cartridges. I mean, I got carts that I want to play.
I got. Let's see. I got some carts. Just
just a couple.
Just a couple.
I haven't played badminton. I haven't played some
3 games. I have 3 games pre-ordered. I even though I have it digitally, I bought Eastward on physical also because I just really loved that game, so I wanted to support it again, just like I did with 13 Sentinels. I now own 2 copies of 13 Sentinels on both Switch and PlayStation. Yeah, they have to. They can't do this again. This is the new age. PlayStation seemingly has committed to it. Xbox definitely committed to it. So we have PS4 games running on the PS5. Whatever they do next, and there's some very rough rumors that they're already working on PS6. That has to be on there. Xbox has made it pretty clear that they've gotten the Xbox library as far as it can go. They've got the 360 library as far as it can go. All Xbox One games play on Series.
Yep.
Nintendo has to follow suit. We're talking about. Let's see if we can get the attach rate for the Switch. But I mean, I own, like I said, this isn't even counting digital games. I think I own like 60 Switch games.
It has to have a higher attach rate than
just from Nintendo first party alone.
Yeah.
Quite incredible attach rate. This was as of June
7, 8.
For every third owner bought a piece of software. So what? Just give me a number. Like, there we go. PS3 was 11. I know PS4 was also pretty high as well. I love attach rate for some reason. It just like, if I'm reading this right, and it's kind of Nintendo discloses that games sold 22.4 million times against a hardware install base of 61. What?
You said 22 times? That can't be an attach rate of 22.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're talking about digital games as well, I mean, I don't think we have good stats on that. But if we did, I wouldn't doubt it for some of the cheap titles.
This article from 2020 is saying it's higher than PS3, and PS3's is very easy to read at 11 games per PS3. So let's just say it's like somewhere around 15 to 20 games per Switch user, and
That's
you're
a
gonna try
lot.
and get those people. Like, that doesn't sound like a lot to some people, but it's a lot, because there's those people out there that literally just buy like Zelda, or just buy Animal Crossing, or on the Xbox and PlayStation side of things, we're talking about the people who just buy Madden, or the people who just buy Call of Duty.
Call of Duty.
That's where like that attach rate really bottoms out, versus like your whales like me and Patrick that buy a game a month or more. You know, we buy at least 12 games a year. I know that it's more than that probably, but I would say we at least buy that many. They have to make it backwards compatible. There's just too many games, and there's too many games that, and it's honestly, I want to run again. Like, I want to run a 60 frame. I want to do a 60 frame Breath of the Wild run. I want to so bad.
That game, like, and if Nintendo don't charge for this. Like, if Nintendo had the next, Switch 2, if whatever they're going to call it, there are certain games that I think should get an upgrade. Breath of the Wild being one of them that could really take advantage of it. Then let developers do if they want to do an upgrade, like PlayStation and Xbox are doing for theirs. But yeah, Nintendo launching that with Breath of the Wild. Oh man, think about this. What if Breath of the Wild 2, right, is coming out, and it's going to come out on they're not doing a successor, I don't think, next year. But theoretically, if they did that and they said Breath of the Wild 2, and you can buy a deluxe edition that has Breath of the Wild Ultimate, that is 1080 60 Breath of the Wild, but you had to pay, say $50 more. I'd pay $50 more. I would.
$50 more for what again?
I know we're the whales here. What?
$50 more for what again? Like,
so $60. So it'd be $60 for the for Breath of the Wild 2, but $110 would get you Breath of the Wild 2 and Breath of the Wild Ultimate, which runs at 1080 60, but it's Breath of the Wild runs on your Switch 2.
Okay.
I'd pay $110.
I mean, yeah.
I wouldn't be happy about it. I want it free.
No, we talked about it on the show where like there's just games where it's like, if I had spent more, like the fact that I got Elden Ring for $60 and versus a $70 PS5 game, like Sony's first party, like I would have paid, not initially because I didn't know what I was getting into, but now in hindsight, I would have paid $70 or more for what I got out of Elden Ring. I definitely got my money's worth, and it's great. Zelda, I don't need to play to know that I would do it because it's Zelda, and I would. Yeah. Like, there are a few franchises where, Final Fantasy 16, I know, and I'm actually probably going to end up spending $120 on it because I already know if they put a Steelbook version out there, I'm going to buy it, and then I'm not going to be able to wait. I'm going to buy it digitally so I can preload it. I did the same thing with 7 Remake, and it's probably going to happen again.
I've only done that twice, and that was for 7 Remake, and that was for Elden Ring.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know if I would necessarily do that for Final Fantasy 16, but it's close, because not only if I can immediately play the game, and I want to take the time off to play, obviously I want to do that, but man, we're talking about, obviously, after the Xbox DRM fiasco that happened, the digital style of sitting down and just picking a game without having to get up off the couch or go find the game in my in my game collection. It's convenient. It's nice. So yeah, there's a chance
there's a number of games where just over time where if I see it on a deep sale, like, if I bought it physically, it's chilling up there, and I see it on a deep sale for like under $20, I've picked up some digital copies of games way down the road, just so like I have this physical one that I don't ever have to do anything with, but I have it. Just part of the collection. But it's in terms of a day one, it's literally like Final Fantasy and Zelda that would happen for it. And it's only because I would be so impatient, like I was with Set and Remake. I had to start playing it the day that it came out. There was not going to be any waiting. If
that game is worth it too. Yeah.
When we finally get a Breath of the Wild 2 release date,
yeah,
it's probably going to happen there as well, because I want the cart. You know, we're probably not going to get any super special editions, but if we happen to and I'm able to get it, then I absolutely will do that. But I'm going to have to play it immediately.
Yeah. I'll probably take the. I mean, I'm going to take the day off for Zelda, but I may take the day off for Final Fantasy because it's so nice, and that, like you said, knowing that it's just ready. You know, if you want to stay up, you can stay up, or you can just wake up, take care, have some breakfast, and start playing immediately. Not have to worry about going to pick up the game.
Yeah. Unfortunately, like my day off stuff is still like, gotta get the kid ready for whatever and do it, so it's still like a limited window, but it's still just because like I've just been screwed too many times where like something is supposed to get there on launch day and then I don't get it till Sunday or Monday, and I took a day off for that. If I'm taking a day off for it, then it better be ready to play.
And that's one of the reasons why if I want to play it day of, like I've done, do an in-store pickup, because if I do an in-store pickup at Best Buy, I can roll up there at 10 a.m. I think they open at 10. Run up there at open, grab it, come home, play it. But now you got installs and stuff. So yeah, I mean, still that's a trip or whatever. But I totally get it. It's convenient, and I canceled a pre-order because I found out I think not Elden Ring, it was another one. I canceled a pre-order because I'd pre-ordered it I think like a month or a month and a half in advance. You did this too, and then you find out it's going to be there like the next week, and you're like, nope.
Yeah.
Didn't you do that?
That happened.
Yeah.
Again, I have terrible luck with day one things where like they say it's going to be there day one. Shout outs to PlayStation Direct. They do a good job on the first party side of things. So far, everything that I've gotten through PlayStation Direct, including my PS5, came on launch day.
That's awesome. Yeah.
PS5 was going to be late too. Like something was going on, and then it arrived the day of. So I was thankfully like happy. I thought I was going to get screwed on that one too. But Miles Morales, a couple other the pink dual sense, like just everything so far has come on the day of, but like Best Buy fails me, Amazon failed me, GameStop has failed me. And GameStop charges terrible prices for their shipping. Like they put like an extra 10 on it. Yeah. And you're just like, come on.
I don't get that. Especially if it's do they charge that if they ship to store?
I never do the ship to store.
Okay.
All right.
Because I know that.
I live here, I work here. I want it to come right to me.
Yeah.
Like if I'm gonna bother doing it, I probably should, but I don't.
Yeah, it just mitigates that. Just like I said, like if it's going to delay or if they try to charge you shipping, because I think Walmart does that. But if you do an in-store pickup, they don't charge you for shipping because it's just part of their their inventory. Yeah, I mean, there are worse problems to have, but yeah, we'll see if I do that for Final Fantasy. I definitely will do something like that with Legend of Zelda though. As we kind of cap off the news, Nintendo Indie World.
So boring.
This was I know it's indie games. I respect the developers. I do.
No. It was fun. Like I respect it. It's not about respect. It was that it just wasn't a good showcase.
Yeah. So the only thing that I was entertained by the totally accurate battle simulator, but I don't know. I didn't see if they announced the price or whatever, but if it's like $20, there's a chance I may pick it up because it looks zany and ridiculous. So maybe. Not a lot else appealed to me. You liked Gumbrella.
That game looks dope. So that's this part right there that just popped up. That was the part that initially got me. Gato Robot. Have you played that, dude?
No.
absolutely should. It's great. It's like a 5-hour long Metroidvania that you play as a cat that gets like a Samus like armor.
Yeah,
it's great. It's like 5 hours long. You probably own it somewhere because I think it's been free at some point, but I think at most it's like $5.
Yeah.
Totally play it though. It's a great game. See it on sale, pick it up. So that's what instantly got me, was that it was the fact that it was those people. This game looks dope. Like, I love it. Like, everything about like the umbrella with powers and like upgrading your umbrella, like floating around. It's your gun. Like this is the only game that I wanted to play out of all 22 minutes.
Yeah,
this was the only one that I was immediately like, yep. I am sad though. I think it said that's not coming out till next year. That's the other thing about an indie showcase, dude. Like, why are you showing me games this far away for indie games? Like, I get it.
And,
like, maybe you.
And if it's like a staff, like if there's like 2 or 3 people, like they say next year, it could be 2 years. Like,
yeah. And it's not like we're doing pre-orders for your little game, and I don't mean to be mean whenever I say little game, but it's not like you're going to get a ton of pre-orders on it, right? People are going to wait for this kind of stuff to come out. Like, I'm not pre-ordering this game, but it just looked good. And but I'm going to forget about it. I'm totally like, in a month from now, it's going to be gone. For me, the indie showcase should be anything in the next 6 months total. And that's it. And then do another indie showcase in January for the next 6 months after that, or whatever. But this was pretty lackluster. We still didn't see Hollow Knight Silksong, which I don't even want to play. It's just kind of a meme at this point about how many showcases come and go and we don't see Silksong. The other game that I was disappointed not to see is the follow-up to Golf Story called Sports Story. I don't know if you played Golf Story at all. You should definitely check that out as well if you have not.
I don't think I have.
I played it on Switch. Again, should be cheap. So Gato Robot, and you can probably get Gato Robot on Vita for cheap as well.
Probably can.
And Golf Story, both great games that you can get for a very cheap price right now. So we didn't see Sports Story, which is the follow-up to it. That game's been in development for a few years, so it was just one of those things where it's not like they said they were going to be there. So you kind of hype yourself up to get disappointed. But there was just nothing there for me. I think if you're going to do one of these, like, again, like you said, no disrespect to developers, but you need to get some of those a couple big indie games to at least book it. Put a bunch of the cute stuff in there, but you gotta get hyped. And then you got to go out hyped, and then that way you're remembering all the other stuff that you saw in the middle, like, fondly. You're like, oh, there was that cute little one, but in this case, I remember nothing except for Gunbell.
And we're also in the we like the instant gratification. So if you can, if it's an indie game, shine a spotlight on a developer that's launching their game right now.
And there was a couple of those that launched today.
Was it today? Okay.
There was a couple. There's always a couple shout drops in there. But it's a matter of what are they? And
they apparently didn't resonate with me enough. I didn't even remember that they even announced it. Like,
Soundfall came out today. That's a rhythm game. Mini Motorways came out today. That is on Apple Arcade as a part of your subscription, but it's $15 on Switch. That game, now that I already forgot about it, which sucks, but I downloaded it on my phone during the presentation because somebody said it was on Apple Arcade, so that's good. That also looked interesting to me. Those are the only 2 shadow drops that I see. So there's a rhythm game that came out, $25. And then this Mini Motorways game's for $14.99. I would not pay $14.99 for it just for the trailer, so I'm glad it's on Apple Arcade. You need some big boys in relation. So I understand it's an indie showcase, but you need a couple big boys in there to make all the little boys. I'm going to stop with the big boy, little boy metaphor and move on to a different type of metaphor. I don't know. You need some good bookends.
Yeah, I mean, and like there's like Card Shark is one I'm waiting on.
Yeah.
I think that's an indie game that or Devolver I think is publishing it, but like that's one that I'm like, hey, that's one I'd like to see. I don't think we still have a release date on that though. So
still 2022 that I know of. You can download the demo right now on Switch. You can pre-order it right now on Switch for a 15% discount, but it does not have a date.
Yep. So that, I don't know, like I said, getting a little update on something like that people are waiting on would have been nice. But yeah, it's kind of, I think the problem also is
June 2nd. They put it on their Twitter.
Oh, okay. Well, awesome. Because that's
you can pre-order now for 15% off if you wanted it on Switch.
Well, I need to check out the demo then, and then I'm gonna check out the demo, and if it's good, then I'll pre-order it because that's good marketing right there. It's good, give a little taste. Give a little taste. You like it? Me. Probably cry.
Yeah.
Probably cry.
I hope so.
Yeah. Well, I hope you like the show this week. Hope you like us talking about some Star Trek. Do you cry when Owen's not here? Do you cry when I'm not here? Do you disagree with us on Deep Space Nine being the best Star Trek? And why do you hate life? And
it's okay to be wrong.
It's okay to be wrong because Deep Space Nine's the best. It's just been, that was the peak, and then we've had like the dips and valleys since then. So let us know in the comments what you think about that. What you think about the Nintendo Switch Showcase? Do you think that we're going to get Wind Waker later this year? Let us know in the comments, and we'll see you next time.
Bye. That was fun. It's done.